I think the question about whether to publish was a very easy one before yesterday, which is the decision that every news organization that had this document made, which was not to publish because nobody could verify or vet any of this information. But once the intelligence agencies caused CNN to tell the world that the FBI and CIA had briefed the president and president-elect on this material and that Russia allegedly had dirt on Trump, I actually think Buzzfeed did an important journalistic service by ending the speculation about what that was and letting everyone see what a farcical document this actually was on which all of this is based.
You call it a farcical document. Donald Trump's called it fake news. Are you basically with him on that?
Well, I don't know if it's fake or real. I say that it's farcical because, for one thing, at the time it was disclosed, it was not only anonymous in terms of who wrote it. It's now been, the person has been identified. It was someone who was being paid by Democratic operatives to dig up dirt on Hillary Clinton. But the more important part of the document is there's no evidence for any of the claims. It's all based on what anonymous people allegedly told him. So it's impossible to evaluate whether or not these claims are true, which is why no journalistic organization was willing to touch it despite the efforts made to get people to publish it.
But hang on a sec, it was taken seriously by the CIA, by the Central Intelligence Agency. Doesn't that elevate it above gossip?
Right. So the CIA is an agency that has repeatedly got caught lying in the past. It's designed to disseminate propaganda, and they're currently in open warfare with the person who was just elected president of the United States. They were behind Hillary Clinton's campaign. So I agree that once the CIA briefs the president and president-elect on this document, it becomes newsworthy to report that fact, but the mere fact that the CIA tried to enshrine this document in a cloud of authenticity or credibility doesn't, for me as a journalist, convince me at all that the claims are true. I want to see evidence first to believe that the claims are true.
Hang on a second. You're calling the CIA partisan. Are you basically suggesting that if Donald Trump then goes on to ignore everything that the CIA tells him, that's no great loss to America?
No, I didn't say anything even remotely like that. What I said was that
the CIA... Well, you suggested that the CIA was partisan, that it was pitted against the president-elect.
Well, that's absolutely true. The former head of the CIA, Michael Morrell, went to the New York Times and endorsed Hillary Clinton. George Bush's CIA head, General Hayden, went to the Washington Post and did the same thing. They both accused Trump of being a recruit of Vladimir Putin.
So in that case,
they were in agreement with Hillary Clinton's view.
Whatever they tell him now, he would have to take with a pinch of salt because he would see them as a partisan organization. Is that what you're essentially suggesting?
I would say that any rational human being with even minimal history of the United States and the CIA would take everything that the CIA says with a huge grain of salt. I would call it actually a dose of rational skepticism, given how many times in the past that agency has lied and been in error. You know, of course, don't you, that the Iraq War was started because that agency said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and was in an alliance with al-Qaeda, something that turned out to be tragically untrue.
And I know,
so, of course, people would treat those claims skeptically.
Okay, but intelligence is not the same as fact. If somebody comes to you with a terrorist threat, it's what they understand might be about to happen, because if they came to you with fact, it would be too late. That's what the CIA is doing here, isn't it?
Well, first of all, what the CIA presented and caused to be public is not fact in anybody's mind. Not even the CIA says the claims in this document is true. And as your own news report just demonstrated, one of the only claims that could be verified, which was that Trump's lawyer traveled to Prague to meet with Russian officials, has come pretty close to being affirmatively disproven, given that Michael Cohen was never in Prague. During those dates, he was actually in Los Angeles visiting USC with his son. So it's not a fact. It's actually the opposite of a fact. It's a falsehood, as the CIA so often disseminates.
But it may not always come down to fact with intelligence. Aren't they right to try and alert the current president, the incumbent, and the future president that this may be going on? Surely that's an intelligence agency doing its job, isn't it?
I don't think anybody has a problem with the fact that the CIA told Donald Trump this happened. I think the problem that people have is that they caused the publication of this material by calling the source credible, and then somebody went to CNN in a very coordinated way, multiple officials, to tell CNN that this was briefed to the president and the president-elect, knowing that they would report it and that the document would then surface. So you can take the naive view, oh, the CIA was just trying to do its job, but it's very obvious that there's open conflict between the intelligence community and the elected president, and this was a way of undermining his legitimacy by ensuring that these allegations surface, notwithstanding the fact that nobody knows if they're true.
And we don't, at this point, know where those leaks came from, although he has pointed the finger at the intelligence agencies. Let me ask you to clarify one thing, because it seemed as if, for the first time today, we heard Donald Trump concede that the hacking of the Democratic emails over the summer probably did come from Russia. Would that change how you view Wikileaks and the way that they leaked some of that organisation, the way they passed on some of that organisation?
No, and that's true for two reasons. One is I don't regard Donald Trump as the paragon of truth, whom we're all duty-bound to agree with. So the fact that he says he thinks they might have done it doesn't mean that I don't want to see evidence for it. Before I believe Russia did it, I want to see evidence. But secondly, every media organization, when they get material, asks two questions. Is it authentic, and is it in the public interest? The New York Times published Trump's tax returns, even though they have no idea who sent it to them. So no, I don't think it matters what the provenance of those documents was from a journalistic perspective. I think it matters, were the documents real, and they were they in the public interest to publish, and they clearly were. They resulted in 5 Democratic Party officials being removed from their position. So no, I still think WikiLeaks did the absolute right thing that every media organization would have done in reporting on those materials.
Glenn Greenwald, thank you very much.